All right, welcome to In the Spirit of Things, folks. This is our official first, we did two calls on Mondays back a couple weeks while we were in transitioning from Blog Talk and Freedom Reigns, but this is our new home. This is our new permanent home, and we welcome all. Hey, folks, we're taking this on a different venue tonight because I really want to cover different issues of the day, and so we're going to go and give you a whole different form of flow. We're going to take you on a new ride, and because it comes down to the body, folks. We talk about mind, body, and spirit, and you know, it's ironic that a lot of people cover the body, but they really don't give any direction of flow of how to get to the other side and how to get your body where it needs to get. So I've had the pleasure of meeting a brother over here on the other side of the fence. By the way, for those who do want to call in for the calls on health-related or, you know, medical things of the day, we'll take calls at the top of the hour of the second hour in after 8 o'clock, not until. So, you know, stand fast and enjoy the ride for the first hour. And then if you have any formulated questions thereafter, after we get going, after our second break, we'll be glad to let a couple of callers in. Anyways, hey, folks, welcome to my world. And this is In the Spirit of Things. We talk about the spirit because, hey, it's mind, body, and spirit. And we're going to move forward on a different level because, like I say, if you're missing one of the three pegs, you know, you have your vessel, your body, and you leave it alone. If it's pretty much compromised and it's not operating in its proper capacity, the other two parts usually don't come and show up to take place. So we're going to try and bring you to a whole different direction of flow, simple, easy methodologies, modalities, I call them, to literally get your body right. And it starts with, starts with the body as well. So on that note, I'm going to introduce a brother who's going to be helping me do a little, carrying a little heavy lifting. And we're going to move from there. Anyways, this is Brother Jerry. He's coming in. He's got nutrition, fitness, health, and holistic health background. Certified life health coach from Coach Training Alliance. Is a co-author in Wake Up and Live the Life You Love. It was Amazon-rated #1 self-help book series, 2005 and 2006. Is also homeopathic and electro-medicine practitioner utilizing Tesla and Rife technology, folks. Yeah, if you don't know anything about Rife, you can go to rents.com. They have a really nice history of Raymond Royal Rife. That's the gentleman I followed and researched him many years ago. And, it's ironic, folks, the technology that Raymond Royal Rife was bringing to the fore. And here we go back with the nefarious garbage of the day. And this is what I talk about because I don't mind pulling back this proverbial curtain. His technology was so efficient that Lawrence Fishbein, who was the head of the FDA, folks, gee, why would I know this? Because I actually read it. I did the research, and he blocked everything good about what was being brought forward by Royal Raymond Rife, because basically the pathology that could be negated as far as parasites in the body, as far as the resonance of the body, because we talk about electromagnetic flow in the body. I've talked about it with Celtic salt and some other modalities. And, these are the things they don't want us to talk about. Now, ironically, folks, they've been covering this stuff up for literally, probably hundreds of years, but I mean really aggressively over the last 100 years. So, it's sort of like the water car with Stanley Myers. He brought that to the fray in the 80s, and they knocked him out the box. And it's ironic that all these people that are bringing effective modalities forward on all the energy levels, big pharma levels, the medical alternative levels, that they've pretty much the propaganda machine has shut it down. They buy up the patents on stuff, and they put it on the shelf, especially on the technologies of the day. So we're going to go to the different side of the pool. So we're going to give you a direction of flow. We're going to give you capacities and abilities to move forward to get your body right in simple methodologies that they really don't want me talking about. So, hey, guess what I'm going to talk about? Anyways, welcome, everybody, and it's going to be a great evening. Also, Brother Jerry has got 39-plus years health-related experience. So, and with that, without any further ado, I'm going to bring Brother Jerry to the fray, and we're going to banter, folks. We're going to bring some beautiful information on how to get the body right. Brother Jerry, did I do you any justice?
Brother Peter, you did great, man. Everything was great. It's an honor to be here with you, and having an opportunity to visit with all these great people who are going to invest their time with us this evening. So, yes, you did me a lot of justice. I really appreciate it. And, of course, you gave Dr. Reif his acknowledgments there because not to get too far not to go too far forward, but nothing's changed since those days as far as what the body is constructed of and how it works electrically, and it's all based on frequency. We'll get into this a little bit more, but Dr. Reif and Nikola Tesla, these are great men that unfortunately they were suppressed, as you mentioned, and exactly what you said is exactly true regarding Morris Fishbein and his role with the AMA. Pretty. I hate to call it evil, but it is pretty evil.
Well, Jerry, the whole point being is, because this is what gave me a lot more clarity as I was coming up through the years, because I cover everything. I don't just cover the medical side of the house. So I'm covering energy, all these other modalities, especially like Tesla technologies. I mean, marginalizing these gentlemen, folks, we would have had free electricity already 100 years ago, but Rockefeller pulled the plug from Tesla on his towers, literally we would have been tower to tower. We wouldn't have even had power lines. But see, because they couldn't slip a buck or make a buck, the Rockefeller, by the way, folks, guess who's behind all the medical schools in the USA Inc. Arena? It would be Rockefeller. So, folks, let's look at the incestuous ties. And, Jerry, this is why I literally want to cover this just for a couple of minutes on the front end before we get into, because nobody knows the history. They don't realize they've been duped their entire lives. They don't realize that the curtain's been pulled over their eyes, the wool's been pulled over our eyes, because nobody reads this stuff. And, by the way, let me mention, folks, if you want to see an excellent overview on Raymond Royal Rife, just go to rense.com, RENSE.com. I'm going to give them kudos over there. Yeah, by the way, that site gets about 10 million hits a month. He really posts some great stuff. It's pretty much, if you get onto the page, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find the overviews and information videos on the history. You'll get a history lesson on this gentleman, Raymond Royal Rife, to give you a lot more clarity. I mean, folks, matter of fact, somebody just posted me yesterday, Jerry, on... because I well know of the guy who did the water car, whatever his name is, the one I just mentioned.
Stanley Myers.
Stanley Myers, yeah. Folks, they pretty much poisoned him. He died in the parking lot back in 1998. We had the technology to run all of our vehicles on the technology of water, not dangerously. Matter of fact, I have videos that somebody just pulled them up. These are special videos that I'd never seen before. And I'm going to post them over at my YouTube page at Privatis.Me so everybody can go watch a little bit about all the cover-ups in the energy technology, sort of like the hemp and all this other stuff, because we had the hemp technology back in the early 1930s. Matter of fact, it was mandatory for every farmer to grow for the war effort for dealing with hemp. We're not talking about the pot smoking type with THC. We're talking about the hemp because it's a durable good. It can be made into rope and paper and millions of other uses. But the biggest threat was to big oil, folks. And I bet you didn't know this. You didn't get the history lesson. They don't teach us in class on the hemp issue alone. That's the reason why they got the teetotaling women, guess what, funded by the Rockefellers or one of the organizations behind that, to get the reefer madness scam going, and all these people are going to be potheads and losing their minds. Folks, that was the scam perpetrated. They got all the people lathered up so that we can remove hemp from USA Inc. in its entirety when it has so many effective uses, just like covered by the Run for, Run for Life or whatever the hell the guy's name is. You know what I'm talking about, right, Jerry?
Well, there's... Rick Simpson.
That's the one. Yeah.
Rick Simpson has done some magical stuff. I've not followed him very closely. I mean, I know who he is. I've listened to a couple of YouTube videos made by him, and some of his testimonials there by people that were, terminally ill are tremendous. And iatrogenic medicine kills 300,000 people a year, and I don't know of anyone through all of, that's a year. Remember that. That's per year.
And what type of medicine is that? The people we got to talk in smaller verbiage, Doc. Jerry, we can't be doctors here. We got to be.
Well, just regular mainstream medicine. Prescription drugs and so on kill about 300,000 people a year. You can look the numbers up. You can Google it. But hemp hasn't killed anybody through all of history, at least not known anyway. So. There's obviously threats. They can't patent it, and it's one of those things. Just like the rest of these technologies that Peter has mentioned, that go back to Royal Rife and Nikola Tesla. Even though he was very well known for his motors, his different dynamo motors, the transfer of electricity. AC current, about, again, give or take a little bit, about 700 patents. He also had a Tesla Therapeutics company, which is lesser known, but actually was one of his more successful personal ventures. So these are, this is information that people who are listening really should have a pad and a pen, and just make a few notes that if you're really interested in liberating your mind a little bit and broadening your horizons with respect, take a look at some of this information that Peter's allowing me, and he's of course talking about it to disseminate. Because it'll free your mind. I guarantee it'll free your mind. It'll have you scratch your head a little bit too.
Yeah. It's about we've been like I say, I've been uncovering all this stuff over the years. And I tell other people, and they just look at me like deer in headlights, and right, whatever. And folks, that's why we've inherited what we've got now. Guess what? This is why they don't talk about sodium bicarbonate, Celtic salt, magnesium chloride, hemp powder. And I'm not talking about smokable hemp powder, folks. I'm talking about protein-dense hemp that does a body good. Because I've been on it for the last 2 months, dropped 15 pounds. Rebuilding my body. I'm 53, but I feel like I'm 21. The machine is really happy because I'm feeding it a dense food source because people don't understand how their machine works. So you know what, folks? We're going to teach you a little bit more about how the machine works, but you don't have to be a doctor. And I tell everybody, Jerry, that you are your own doctor, and freedom with responsibility comes from us. So what I put in my mouth is ultimately my responsibility. Nobody's holding a gun to my head and say, eat McDonald's, eat Burger King, eat genetically modified food products. I know it's hard sometimes to get on the path, folks. I know. But, I'm not perfect. I'll bust out on a 10-pound bag of chicken wings maybe once a month because I can. But see, everything in moderation. And I do moderate my intake on all the garbage. For the most part, I want to feed the machine. I want to have it run correctly so that I have clarity of mind, thought, and can basically have my body functioning at its proper capacity. Because without being functioning at the proper capacity, I'm ripe for disease and bunches of other things. I am 53, and but I just like you, Jerry, you're a little older, but I see your picture. You looking pretty damn good shape for a guy of your age. I didn't think you were that old. Anyways, folks, they give us these ages, and this is what I see in our society. Most people are ready for the boneyard by the time they're 50. That's not normal, folks. Your body shouldn't be carrying twice its mass at the age of 50 years old. Your waist size is not supposed to be the same as your age. It doesn't mix. But I've seen that throughout history, even with my own father. He died at 66 of cancer, but he kept his machine pretty well polluted his entire life, and go figure, liver cancer and multitude of other disease. But he never fed his machine right. He didn't take care of his machine. I seen that. Says I'm not like him, so I changed my paradigm. He taught me well. He was a good bad example, for lack of a better term. This is my own father. But by the time he was 40, he had a 40-inch waist, and I'm not lying. So that's not normal, folks. Your body weight's not supposed to be, or your waist is not supposed to be the same as your age. Anyways, Jerry, I just thought I'd throw some of this stuff out, but I think we're going to have some exciting things and some good direction of flow to share with our brothers and sisters, and that's the objective of why I put this together.
Well, Peter, that's great, because the fact is that anyone who goes to look in the mirror or has looked in the mirror notices that the body, mind, and spirit all travel in the same package.
Yeah.
And as much as mainstream medicine likes to make the body a bunch of independent parts, common sense tells you it all flows together because it all moves in unison and it supports itself. If there's an injury, the immune system kicks in to send different healing compounds to that particular area, whether whether you have a broken bone or you've cut yourself. It depends obviously what it is, but the point being, and sometimes there is the need for intervention of trauma medicine. I had something like that happen to me not that long ago, a year and a half ago. But the point being is, you've got to keep your body in shape, because how you take care of your body does affect your mind. And if you're going to go down this path and you're going to liberate yourself, well, you may need a little intestinal fortitude, which will mean that your health will probably have to be a little bit stronger than what you consider, say, normal, or what is acceptable by today's standards.
Yep. Most definitely. Yeah, because if the body can't tolerate, different stresses, and myself, Brother Jerry, I did time 10 years in the Navy. 8 years was spent in camouflage green, running up and down hills with my mean green marine machine as a Navy doc. And so I said, well, when in Rome, do as the Romans, and I started doing 7-mile humps every morning. I would go 7 miles to the gate. I lived back in Quantico, and I would do 3.5 up, 3.5 back, with literally no effort. I loved the runner's high. It was beautiful, nice hills, deer in the morning. It was a beautiful thing, and I got my body right, started... I said, if I'm going to be doing forced marches, 12 miles with full 782 gear, 70 pounds in a backpack, I got to be in good shape to be able to hang out with my brothers in green. So I knew that I would have to do something with the machine. So I did. I took it upon myself, and didn't even start lifting weights till I was ripe old age of 22, and managed to grow a pretty good machine in short order, because I was feeding the machine in the correct, proper manner. And, you can't go out and do partying, all night long and drinking and beating the machine up. Well, you can when you're young. I've seen a lot of guys do it, but you're going to pay a price down the road. So, I always tried to feed the machine correctly, but I love being physical. And then I climbed poles for about 10 years in cable systems, rebuilding backbones of cable systems. Let's see, Houston, Texas, El Paso, Phoenix, to name but a few. Folks, these are now cold weather spots. These are extremely arduous. Folks, it's, I'll tell you what, Jerry, it was harder for me to hang out doing 10, 12-hour days hanging off of poles than it was running up and down hills with the Marines. That was an easier gig, believe it or not. Because I'll tell you what, it's an endurance contest for the body when it's 110 in the shade. And there's not a whole hell of a lot of shade up on those poles, so you had to learn how to hydrate properly and how to take care of your machine so you didn't go to heat stroke. So, these are the things I learned doing hot weather, cold weather training in the military. So I had forethought of mind how to take care of dealing, like you talk about intestinal fortitude. Yeah, it was a recon mission from hell, and I was pretty damn good at it. So, but it takes a little tenacity. And so if our machines aren't up to snuff and we deal with arduous situations, probably going to pay a little bit higher dues than the normal party. So it's imperative that we probably do a little bit of something to give our body a little bit more physical capacity, elasticity to be functional.
So true. So true. Whenever you're ready, Peter, I would like to get in a little bit talking about the fundamental basics that kind of loop everything that we're going to discuss here, and actually everything we have discussed, kind of put a nice little loop around it so they, our listening audience can see how these, I'll call them drawstrings, actually come together to create this health and this vibrancy that you talk about, because there are a couple key essentials that are necessary. Very good.
Matter of fact, let me take a look at the time, and because we will go to break at 7:30, pretty much, Jerry. So I'm just checking the clock just to because I like to give everybody a little bit of break. Matter of fact, it's 7:25, and if my producer, so I would like you to get to, in a concerted thought pattern and to put this information out with a little bit of continuity. So I can easily go to a quick break for everybody to go do what they do on break for a couple minutes, and it will come right back. Let me get up with my producer and see if she would be amicable to hosting me. She goes, yeah, we can handle it. So you know what? Hey, my producer is going to say, hey, folks, we do what you do at break. We're going to be right back after the break, and Brother Jerry's going to bring us a little bit more clarity and direction of flow right after the song. All right. Thank you, folks. Welcome to, we're on the next hill slide here. We're going to do a little heavy lifting. Brother Jerry's going to share, and thank you for my producer for catching the ball and moving us forward a little bit, because I really didn't want to start and stop in the middle of you getting started, Brother Jerry, on giving a little continuity of flow. And I love a little shine down as well, so it was all good.
Well, that's great, Peter. And again, I thank everybody for allowing me the time to just share some basic ideas. And you know, Peter has this philosophy or a way of pulling the wool off or exposing, the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain in the freedom movement, in the personal liberation movement. I kind of have a way of doing the same thing because I've been around the health field for over 40 years, actually. And, you know, obviously a lot of it starts with your own R&D, your own research and development, but there are some essentials. And this is not about you going out to purchase supplements, because what is the key word with supplements? Supplement. Here's some information that people don't tell you. Anytime you take a raw nutrient, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. You're going to make, vitamin C or whatever whenever you do that, and you use heat, pressure, steam, water, any type of an extraction process, you start to compromise the supplement. When you start to add magnesium stearate, silicone dioxide as fillers, which most supplement companies do, you further create more of a toxin than you do a nutrient. This is information not talked about in the supplement business, and realistically, ladies and gentlemen, the supplement business is almost as, I hate to use the word corrupt, but it is almost as corrupt in a way as mainstream medicine is, in that you really aren't getting what you pay for, because when you combine nutrients, and if you go to and listen to Dr. Bruce Lipton, who has been a cellular biologist for almost 50 years, he tells you when you start to combine nutrients, you create what's called the heat of exchange. And so heat, when you are making this nutrient, heat becomes random, and it becomes fragmented. So this is why they say, like if you do a little research and you find credible sources, they say things like, well, you really only get 1 or 2, or you get a small percentage of the nutrient value. And there are a couple of reasons for that, and that one is the extraction of the nutrient from the raw material, and the other is when you start to compress it down, it becomes a heat source, and that heat makes the nutrient, the actual nutrient value further dissipate or degrade. So supplements are sketchy. They have some value. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying it's caution. But let me take you now to the beginning. If you are eating food that is from fast food sources, or you're eating not genetically modified organisms. Remember, genetically modified. You become genetically modified.
Yep.
I mean, this isn't a secret. The information is there. You know, you have a full library at your fingertips on your laptop computer or your desktop computer. So you can do your research and understand why most, if not all, European countries have banned genetically modified organisms. And let me be clear what they are. The key that you find in most packaged foods are soy products, which really no one should really eat because there is no real nutritional value in soy. Corn, which again, not about 91 to 95% of soybeans are genetically modified. About 85 to 87% of corn, and I'm not sure the exact percentage of wheat products, but it's up there in that 70 to 80% range. And so when you start to look at this and they put these foods in, they put these genetically modified organisms in these packaged foods, and they steal energy from your body. Because when you start to ingest food and you start to masticate, you can create an enzyme reaction. As this food travels into your stomach, the food starts to look for an electrical signal. It starts to look for a compatibility between the nutrient and your body's signal. Well, packaged food and fast food do not have any or very little electrical properties. They may taste good. They may satiate you that way. But this is where your health will begin or end, is right here, and that's why, personally, I love you all, but if you are going to continue to do the same thing, in other words, eat these kind of non-nutritious foods, non-nutritionally based foods, and expect different results, that is called insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, or throwing a supplement in there which allows you to, in a sense, justify your own insanity by thinking the supplement's going to make a difference. It's kind of like a forest fire. When you're sick and you have inflammation in your body or something's going on that you don't like, you have to remove what's causing the inflammation. And then you have to go through a rebuilding process, which usually takes some time. And in our society today, it's, if there was one pill that could do it all, I'm sure there'd be lines miles long where people would be lined up to try that method out. So anyway, this whole process begin and end with the food, and the last geneticist that I knew that had any credibility was someone they either, again, I'm not here to offend anybody, someone they called God or they called it nature. And that seems to have been lost. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not eating properly, if you're not having, and that can be quality protein sources, I'm not here to pitch any type of a lifestyle diet on you, whether it be vegan, vegetarian, Paleolithic. It's what works for you. It's what really, really works for you. But insanity doesn't work for anybody. It's very frustrating because you end up, the only thing you end up feeding is the medical matrix. And you become deeply ingrained in that business, in that field. And those people, as you know, the average 50-year-old, 60-year-old is on 10, 11 medications, something like that. I'm not on any myself. But, they start complaining of cholesterol and blood pressure and, all of the, fibromyalgia and so on. But the big issue that no one likes to talk about is the digestive process, the absorption of the nutrient process, and then the one that's really most important is after you've ingested all this stuff, it's got to come out the back end. It's got to be eliminated as material. And if that's not working, ladies and gentlemen, this is the part where you must understand, until that system works, your 70 to 80% of your immune system is in your stomach. And if there's digestive stress, then there's immune stress. So they go hand in hand again. Yep. This is this part that's central to all wellness. It's not about a supplement. It's about the food. That's where it really begins and ends for you all. And that's the part that, again, because if your stomach is not working well, you're not absorbing. So then the nutrients even have less potential to work. So I'm trying to, put something together here that, as Peter talks about, a flow, the flow has got to start with what you're putting in your mouth first. Garbage in, garbage out, you know? And it's just the way it works.
Very good. And these parallels that we draw, like you say, if you're not, I was ignorant of the fact of magnesium chloride for a while, and now I'm well aware of it. There's a doctor, Mark Circus. I've got information in reference to that on the Privatis.Me site. Matter of fact, and I've got a taped MP3. It's ironic. Yesterday, the 1st of April, Natural Society, I think it was, they posted an article about magnesium chloride, and pretty much 90% of the masses are deficient, and that's really a primary starting point, because if you're magnesium deficient, then your body can't get the upflow of all the other nutrients. In other words, it's like like you were talking about a fire. You keep throwing more fuel on the fire, but it's not it's not gonna it's just gonna keep burning, but you're burning empty calories, and you're not getting the proper nutritional uptake in the rest of the cells of the body. So it was really imperative when I come across this a few months back. I said, wow. I was not aware that I was ignorant of this one simple fact. And because of the erosion of the lands and the chemtrail spraying and all the garbage going on in our environment, the magnesium has really become a major deficiency. But, the irony, Jerry, is Big Pharma doesn't look at that. We don't look at the obvious. We just look at what, hey, you're deficient. Oh, yeah, we think your blood pressure's a little high. We're going to put you on BP medication. Oh, we think this. Folks, and this is what I've been saying, Jerry, anytime, they put you on statins, any chemical you got to ingest in your body, you are altering the system. You are now creating a whole new plethora of other issues, and they say, you're having this problem with this medication, we'll put you on this one too. This will offset that. Well, folks, guess what? That's a ping-pong effect on the body, and it really has deleterious effects on the body. And I want to share, Jerry, just for a second. I had a brother of mine in Louisiana. The guy was about 150 pounds when I started this job that I was at. And he went to the doctor, and he listened to the swill. This guy was in pretty good shape, and he went from 150 to 250 in a matter of 7 months from being on statins. I said, brother, you got a problem. I said, your body's not supposed to gain 100-plus pounds in 7 months, and because I knew he wasn't eating any. He said, I'm not eating any more than I normally was. I said, these chemicals have altered your state, your hypothalamus, your pituitary gland. All the other organs are not operating properly. I says, that's your cue. I said, if I would have got 20 pounds on a medication, I would have been saying, I don't think I need the medication. But see, what's happened, brother, is here we go, freedom with responsibility. We put our responsibility on the shoulders of another who we think is in the know. But the problem is these chemicals have deleterious effects. Folks, there is no chemicals that are going to fix your body. Yeah, if you get a raging strep throat, not a bad idea to get some Bicillin long-acting, we called it an A shot in the military, and knock it out quickly, because your system can be compromised with strep throat because it actually starts attacking organs if you don't knock it out in short order. So under those auspices, yes, maybe I'll subscribe to that temporary situation too, because of the hazards of either going to the boneyard or causing organ issues with the strep throat, because it can be very counterproductive. So, but as far as on a whole, nobody should be on chemicals for 12 months, 24 months, or for the rest of their stinking lives. Folks, that's a compromise of your immune system, your body, on all fronts, when there's natural alternatives to everything. And I know, Jerry, you are well-versed on natural alternatives of what I speak. So anyways, I just want to try and tie the two and two together to people about the chemical therapies that, and like I say, they actually reference folks so that they don't have the liability. They actually say it can cause this, and then you consent and give over, and you start taking those medications. And if you have a adverse reaction to those medications, so be it. They don't give a crap, because hey, they don't have the liability anymore. They already told you. They told you on the label. They told you on the prescription. So you consented to your own compromise of your own immune system. So we're going to teach you how to start looking to yourself and be your own best doctor. We don't give medical advice here. We just give direction. And I just want to make sure I stated that. I'm not a doctor. Jerry's not a doctor. But, hey, we do know how to read. And I know most of you out there know how to read as well. So we're going to give you direction of flow on, how to find what resonates with you so that you don't keep compromising your system. Because it's the only one you got, folks. And like I say, I'm 53. I'm not on any medications. I know a lot of you are laughing and saying, yeah, Pete should be on a couple of medications because he's so excited. Well, yeah, that's why I'm excited, because I'm not on any medication. Anyway, it's a good thing, folks. I'm not compromising my immune system in any way, shape, or form, and never have. And I don't listen to white coats. Not in any, like I say, if I break a leg, I'll go see the orthopod. If anything else, I'll take it. I am my own doctor. I know how to take care of me. Anyways, but that was enough of my banter, huh, Jerry?
Yeah, that's it's all good. It's all good stuff, Brother Peter. It's all good. And let me just make it a little bit more specific for people, so they can understand and take some action if they'd like. Enzymes, for you to live, there's about 7,000 different reactions that enzymes have. And let me give you a little idea of what enzymes are, and I'll be specific. Enzymes that break down fat are known as lipase. They break down fats. Amylase is another enzyme that breaks down carbs. There's different types of those enzymes, and then proteases break down protein. They're protein dissolving. Well, let me mention something to you about most illnesses, whether they be viral or bacterial. Viruses and bacteria are both proteins. They're exogenous proteins, foreign proteins to the body. That's why they make you ill. And these proteins can be dissolved with the proper use of what's called enzyme therapy. And it's lesser talked about because anyone that I've ever put on enzymes has rebooted their, provided they change the food, of course, they've rebooted their digestive system. If I combine those, and if I put them on the actual therapy itself, where they're taking enzymes independent, separate, and away from food, where they become therapeutic, they have gone in and they've helped people with cancer, again, different viral and bacterial conditions. They've helped reboot the entire immune system, and it goes on and on. And I don't want to make any healing claims. I just want to talk in the sense more of balance, and that is a general idea, a basic idea, that they work in conjunction with every system of your body. If you take enzymes and you combine them with some probiotics, because maybe you've been on some antibiotics, probiotics, for life, pro, for life,
yep,
antibiotic against life. So, and antibiotics kill not only exogenous, bad proteins in the body, they kill everything. They kill all of the gut flora, or they compromise it anyway. So anyway, the long and short of it is that what's central to your wellness is making sure your gut is working well, and the only way your gut will work well is if the food that's going in there is really real food, and then, again, the food combining it with some good enzyme therapy or some good enzymes before you eat every major meal will make a huge difference in your overall, we'll call it your well-being.
Yep. I'll subscribe to that. Yeah, as a matter of fact, for the uptake of my hemp powder that I do, which doesn't have any fillers or anything, 100% natural, I also take a probiotic powder right along with it with iodine, all natural, no fillers, no chemicals, my system, like I say, I function on about 5 hours of sleep a day, Doc. I mean, Jerry, because the machine is happy, it's satisfied, and most people think they need 10 hours of sleep, and maybe there's something amiss if you need heavier levels of sleep. I don't know. Anyways, everybody's wired a little different, but my machine is just fine. But the probiotics that you speak of, I think it's imperative. But we don't talk about this. We don't teach nutrition in the context. Yeah, and I'm well aware of big pharma, folks. Here's another thing that Jerry was saying, sort of about the so-called nutrition out there, like GNC, and I've talked about it a couple times myself. 90% of the pharmaceutical companies are in bed. There's two big companies that are producing all these garbage, and they are garbage, folks. You just pee them out. There's no valid uptake. First of all, if you're magnesium deficient, there's probably pretty much a non-existent uptake of any nutritional value. But effectively, if the flora in your stomach's not correct, just like Brother Jerry's saying, then you're not getting an uptake even of that. But what I'm saying is Big Pharma's in bed with chemical fillers. They put garbage fillers in all these nutritional supplements. And being a bodybuilder, I went to the GNCs and would look at all these so-called protein powders, whey, protein isoscellates, and it was just all crap. I just said, I never subscribed pretty much. I tried a couple of them, and I just never had any success with them whatsoever. I was better off with a dense nutritional source, a food source, a real food source, than taking these filler powders, I call them. And that's all they are. So, folks, if you're pissing away money at GNC, don't. We're not going to give them a promotion. We're not going to give them any kudos, because the majority of the garbage they got in there is exactly what it is. It's garbage, because Big Pharma's tied to that game too. You go to Walmart or Sam's Club, you see all the rows and rows of pills. I don't buy none of that garbage, folks. I get it from alternative sources that I research extensively, that I know has validity and value, and my body will actually absorb it. But first I had to get my machine right and feed it right on the front end. And with the probiotics and the hemp powder is an extremely dense, nutritional, green product. And, yeah, I pretty much weaned myself from meats and stuff. And as a bodybuilder, I was always looking for a good fat steak. But, hey, I can do my hemp powder, and I'm having great success with it, probably more so because it's the uptake of those nutrients. Now, I also do my magnesium chloride daily as well, so that I make sure that I'm getting the proper uptake of these nutrients.
Well, that all sounds awesome, and when people pay attention and they listen to what their body is telling them, typically you'll get the instruction that you need. So it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
But the one thing that's consistent with everybody is the requirement of quality food in the body. Again, garbage in, garbage out. You can't. The body is a high-performance machine which requires high-performance nutrition created by nature. And those are, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, the basics. If you look at, a lot of people say, I meet with them all the time, I do an intake, and I start to talk about some of this information, right? And they say, I know this, I know that, So I ask them, well, what are you looking for? And they say, I thought you had something for me that I didn't know. I said, well, what you don't know is that without those basics that we're talking about, nothing else matters. People are looking for this unrealistic magic bullet. They're looking for something that is as simple and as plain, in a sense, as the nose on their face. And it's literally that far from them. It's all around you, but you're inundated, but a lot of people are inundated with all these commercials and all this phony food stuff that they've made it taste good. That's for darn sure. And you've got this ongoing dis-ease in this country that's just, like I say, just as an example, diabetes in the last 20 years is up over 800%. Cancer and heart failure or heart disease are your number one and number two killers, and number three is mainstream medicine. Look it up. It's all there, hidden in plain sight for you. It's all there. So it really becomes a relatively simple program once you go back to the basics, because the basics will take you to 80 to 90% of where you need to be. And the other part is the water that you drink. Now, Andrew Norton Weber on Facebook is a big proponent of distilled water. I've been on distilled water now for 7 months, and I love it. And this is probably not a complete discussion for this time, but I would invite you to look at the reasons why you really, in a sense, should consider distilled water as your water source. Just consider it. Take a look at it. Andrew Norton Weber on Facebook, or you can Google him, and it'll come up. His site will come up. I can't remember the site name right now, but I know his name. I've listened to a couple of his talks. Very informative, and they just make total sense. And like I said, I've been doing it myself for about 7 months now, 6-7 months, and it's been tremendous. It's just been tremendous. Actually, it's more like 9 months now that I think about it. But anyway,
well,
the hydration. Just real quick, Peter.
Go ahead.
The hydration aspect is also critical because most people walk around dehydrated.
Yep. There's an article I want you to read. I'll throw it your way, Jerry. Distilled water I think is fine for up to a certain point, but at the same time, I want to make my water alive, so I actually use Celtic salt and sodium bicarbonate to bring it back to source, which most people don't do, because I think it's a proper proponent, as well as food-grade hydrogen peroxide. I also use that, like 5 drops when I'm mixing up my sodium bicarbonate to help make the body oxygen-rich. So the uptake integrated in the distilled water is extremely effective uptake. But the water we drink, I definitely don't drink the tap crap, but it's always good because the fluoride and all that garbage. Anyways, water's an imperative. Anyways, but I make mine come alive. So that's me, because I've researched the distilled water a little bit, and I don't know if I subscribe 100% to it in and of itself. That's why I add my little upgrade with the sodium bicarbonate, Celtic salt, and the food-grade hydrogen peroxide, because it's a good way for it to get into the cellular infrastructure with the 894 plus dense nutrients. But distilled water in and of itself, by itself, I really feel is incomplete without adding at least something to bring the water a little bit more stability and bring the cells more stability. So oxygen-rich is a good state to be. Acidic is not, alkaline is. So that's where I live.
Yeah, well, I think I say, all I say is that you do your own research, you try it maybe. Again, I think it's been maligned based on what I've heard also, what I used to subscribe to myself. And again, it's something that you take a look at. If it doesn't work, that's fine. That if it doesn't feel right, that's fine. But it's just an avenue to kind of go down, because when I started to research enzyme therapy, no one was talking about that either, except a few of the, let's just say, old docs were talking about this. And as I found out, without getting into a big story about myself, when I was having people come in with, major cancer into my protocol, aside from the vegan diet, I put them on mass doses of proteolytic enzymes, and some real magic would happen. I mean, tremendous magic. And then people wonder why. They say, well, why doesn't mainstream medicine use this? Well, because there's no money in it. We've got to remember, everybody, medicine is a business. It's a business first. Because if they cure cancer, let me ask you this question. What are you going to do with the bill? What are you going to do? Forget about the people just now that work in the Sloan Kettering Cancer Institute. What are you going to do with the building? And what are you going to do with hundreds of buildings like that all over the country? And what are you going to do with all these people? So I don't believe you'll ever see that realistically cured, even though there are close to 400 natural cures, and one of those cures is using electricity via frequency and AC current and also using that in conjunction with enzymes and a little special mix of water that I put together. I've had tremendous success. So I don't want to get too far, off the subject. But when you start to pull the drawstrings of all of this together, there is a continuity to it all, and it's quality food, hydration, emotional balance. 95% of all doctor visits are related to emotions and emotional stress. 85% of all cancer is related to some unresolved emotional stress. So it's some of the basics have to be in place, and that awareness. Anger creates acidity in the body. If there's too much acidity, that stress creates a cascade of potentially a cascade of negative outcomes called illness.
Yep. Anyways, hey, guess what, folks? Hey, Jerry, we're going to go to a break. We at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock, deadhead, double digits, folks. Do what you do when you go to break, and we will open the board if there are any call-ins after the hour, and we're going to continue to move this train forward. Everybody do what you do when you go to break. We'll be right back. Thank you. All right. Yeah, what a great song. If You Only Knew, folks. Yeah, that's. I think they were trying to tell us something there. Anyways, welcome back to on top of the hour in the spirit of things. And if I advocate anybody who's listening to this call would like to give a little direction of flow for give a call in, feel free. Right now we got an open board, and we just wanted to share a little love. But anyways, Brother Jerry, on these probiotics or these, where would somebody obtain something that's this dirt cheap? Or because I'm not even really aware of these. What you're speaking of, except for the probiotic powder I already use.
Well, there are several different sources of probiotics. There's a lot of complex in some areas of probiotics because a lot of them get diluted by the stomach acids because the stomach is a pretty low pH. Somewhere between a 2 and 3 on a 14 scale. That's pretty acidic, and it has to be that way to be healthy because the stomach has to further liquefy and break down the foods with hydrochloric acid. So again, there's a little bit of, I've used a product called P as in Peter, B as in boy, PB8, which has 8 different strains, and the new philosophy or the new theory in probiotic therapy is that less strains is more, provided they're quality strains. PB8, that product PB8 has been around for quite some time and has a good track record. So that's one of them. There's other companies. Yarrow makes JARROW. They make a quality, several different quality acidophilus and gut flora products.
Right.
Geez, I'm trying to think. There's just so many. As far as enzymes go, the company that again, these are recommendations. You can call Amanda Miller at World Nutrition in Scottsdale, Arizona, and tell her Jerry told you to call. She'll give you a great price. That's dealing direct with the distributor. Her name is Amanda Miller. She's the sweetest woman you'll ever meet, and I've known her for about 5 years, and they have a great product. And they're Vital. It's called Vitalzyme, VITALZYME. Vitalzyme is a great product. So, if someone wants to, get in touch with me, they can do so through my email address, which is my name. It's Jerry, Jerry, all one word, lowercase, NOWACKI. Again, all one word, lowercase, jerrymilwaukee@gmail.com. I'm not selling anything, folks. Just trying to help. It's a new culture. We're in a new time where giving is how can I say it? It's the new energy. It's the new way to show love. And some commerce is necessary, of course. Some exchange of monies, we'll call them, whatever, is necessary. But anything I can do for you, I'm happy to do. Somebody just has to send me an email, and I'll be happy to share any other information. If I don't have an answer, I can direct you to somebody who does. But again, if I could just say this one more time, if you go back to the food and start at the beginning, and you start eating quality foods, greens, you start, maybe using some broth soups, eating, organic vegetables, some organic fruits. Staying away, minimizing the grains, any grain, minimizing the grains. Grains are comfort foods. They really do not belong in our diet. They honestly don't. If you, again, do the research on grains, grains became a food source by default in times of famine. You'll find that to be really true. And what you'll also find is that the Paleolithic, the caveman, the paleo diet, I don't want to say it's perfect, but again, it can be Googled, and the paleo diet is something for you to look at. You can add some parts to it. There's maybe some other greens and things you can add to it, but bread is not really the part of the Paleolithic diet. People have cured MS, have cured cancer, have cured lots of different illnesses and dis-ease just by going to a Paleolithic diet, because about 98.5% of those genes that our brothers and sisters had is, the caveman and the cave woman are the same genes we have today. And so your body can recognize these food sources. And grains only came into our system, into the farming agricultural system about 10,000 years ago. So they're not really that old. So, and again, most of them are GMO, genetically modified, and I can assure you they're creating more problems than may be considered. Anyway, Brother Peter, turning it back to you.
Yeah. Well, like I say, problem is, finding sustenance of good value. The crap in the store, I wouldn't buy in a million years. I don't buy veggies from these clowns. Matter of fact, I had a brother of mine. He did his own tomatoes right here in Virginia on the land, and all that crap that comes into Walmart, those tomatoes, they're tomato wannabe folks. They gas the suckers. They ain't worth a flip. As a matter of fact, that's why they taste like cardboard. They have absolutely no taste whatsoever. Don't buy my tomatoes from the store. I'll buy them from a private vendor who grows them in his own field or whatever, but I do not buy. There lies another problem. When the masses have to go for consumption with garbage, where do they find? I guess they have to find their own growers, sort of like what I've done in my backyard. I got a farmer just right down the road, so non-genetically modified food products. But now the powers that be want to attack the local farmers, so that they want to shut down all the door. I'm sure you're well aware of Codex Alimentarius for.
Oh, geez, yeah. Well, that's been slowly rolled in. It's actually fairly active now with all of the genetically modified foods, the chemtrail spraying, and the constant attack on the environment. And it's, except for the supplements not being taken off the shelves yet or changed in the potencies that they were talking about, where they'd be very, very ineffective, and you basically have to have a prescription for them. You're right, Brother Peter. They're another wild card out there that I'm sure it looks like they'll have their say someday here. But the people have been speaking up. You've got Dr. Rima, R-I-N-A, Dr. Rima Lebeau, who has been a big spokesperson in the natural health field and getting her message out. I can't remember the name of her site right now, but Dr. Lebeau has been a wonderful beacon for getting people aware of the Codex Alimentarius agenda. You know, it's a heavy duty agenda. You know, and it's a lot of these. You know, again, a lot of these issues. They seem like issues. They're already in play. You know, they're below the radar screen. Mainstream media doesn't report them. So they're like a jack in the box. Unfortunately, they won't come out unless we stand up and empower ourselves, like with the work that you do, Brother Peter. You do a great job with getting people aware of, you know, how they can take their power back and not be a victim or be manipulated because they're not sure what the law is or their rights are. So it all goes together, man. It's all part and parcel of the same stuff. You take care of the body, the mind, and the spirit, and that prepares you for the warrior aspect. And I don't mean going to battle. I'm talking about the way of the peaceful warrior, where you use mind power to get the desired outcome.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I've been working on uncovering the scam. Like I say, my research is varied but extensive. Like I say, this is how I got clarity on when I saw the incestuous ties with the whole stinking system. I said, okay, now this makes sense. Sort of like the bond issues. Matter of fact, I just posted over, I think, on Privatis.Me a 7-minute video about the prison industrial complex. And it's a hypothecation event, and it's just about the damn money. It's not about civil or criminal. And Wackenhut and CCA, Corrections Corporation of America, they worked out deals in all 50 states to guarantee a 90% fill rate in their new corporate for-profit prisons. See, folks, when you don't get it, you really don't get it. This is what they don't speak of, and that's why it's been a really easy lift for me on the medical side of the fence, because it wasn't hard to put two and two together with the vaccinations. The Gardasil scam pushed over there in Texas. That's where it started, folks, with old brother Rick Perry. Hey, Rick, how you doing? You sorry for sale sucker. They're all a bunch of corporate prostitutes. They're a bunch of whores. They're all in commerce, folks. Look at the definition of commerce, and you'll see the word intercourse right next to it, because they're screwing you. This is, hey, I'm direct to the point. Nobody's accused me of being tactful, but the objective is I'm trying to sort of do a wake-up call at the same time, because nobody's aware. They've been lulled into a false sense of sleep by not opening their eyes. My eyes have been pretty much wide open for many, many years, and this is why I can prove everything I say. I can give direction to flow. If I can't give you sustainable facts, because everything I say out of my mouth, it becomes hearsay. I don't want you to listen to a damn thing I say, but I sure as hell want to give you some direction to flow to go find out for yourself and let you be the assessor of the information on whether it's valid in your mind or not. Otherwise, I'm just a guy spouting off here. So, but the medical side of the house is really bought and paid for on so many different levels, folks. And this has been going on since the early 1900s. And yeah, like I said, I did the extensive research on Rife, Raymond Royal Rife, and others. Sodium bicarbonate. Matter of fact, I got a document, Jerry, I got to dig it up and find it. Even the Egyptians 1,000 years ago were expounding upon sodium bicarbonate, not the garbage by Arm & Hammer, but pure natural. The only company that actually makes a pure natural sodium bicarbonate for consumption that doesn't have any fillers and garbage and aluminum in it is Red Mill brand. I mean, hey, I should be getting a check from those folks, but I don't. Folks, I don't make any money. I go buy my 1-pound sacks down there at the health food store for $3.50, and I'm able to use it in my distilled water with my Celtic salt and my food-grade hydrogen peroxide, and folks, if you don't understand, there are multiple differences in hydrogen peroxide. The crap you buy off the store shelf, the 3% is not the crap you want to put in your body. It's got chemical fillers. It's not meant for personal consumption. So if you didn't get the memo, I'm giving you the memo right now. If it's anything less than food grade, it's not what you're looking for. So anyways, you can buy that at pretty much any local health food store, and they're pretty informative, and they do carry it in most health food stores. At least that's what I've found. And folks, when you make the body oxygen rich, that's a really good thing, because the pathogens can't really set up shop in your house, causing cancer. But it does start in the intestines, the gut, just like Brother Jerry's talking about. But there are simple, effective, safe modalities on multiple levels that nobody's talking about, because Big Pharma can't patent these things. So, anyways, you gotta love it. The rabbit trail goes far, wide, and deep, folks, but it's a traceable trail. It's a real simple one. Yeah, I have this article sitting on my desktop on Codex Alimentarius, control over the food supply. I've been following this for about 10 years. I couldn't believe when I was uncovering it. I said, oh, come on, people. This is like conspiracy theory crap. That's what I was starting to think. And I just said, but then when I was finding the proofs, like with the bond issue, after further extensive research, Jerry, I found out, yes, every case is, they got a bid bond, performance bond, payment bond. I looked up the bonds, started researching them, started pulling them up. At first I thought it was all a lie. I said, this is a hard pill to swallow. That they're literally got us knocked in the head for a hypothecation event. It has nothing to do with civil and criminal, like people think. They want you to go into the dead man's court and do ecclesiastical law, and that's why the judge wears a black dress. It's black magic being perpetrated upon the masses. When they get you to step into these courts, they're drafting you for performance so they can complete the circuit. Everything's electromagnetic flow, charge, discharge. You got to love the words they use, folks. There's a reason behind it, because they're using your res, i.e. your energy. That's what res is, R-E-S. Look it up. Anyways, these are just the informations I've uncovered over the years, and for most people it's a shock to the system. They can't hardly believe it. But you can't make this stuff up. But this Codex Alimentarius stuff is really, it's first of all, it says, I'm going to read one paragraph. Contrary to popular belief, Codex Alimentarius is neither a law nor a policy. It is, in fact, a functioning body, a commission created by the Food and Agricultural Organization and the WHO. And that's not the band, the WHO, folks. That's the World Health Organization under the direction of the United Nations. Gee, go figure. Yeah, well, they've had us pretty much binded up since like about 1945. But since we've all been dead asleep because of the aluminum buildup in our brains and all the other chemical carcinogenics that are have us all zombified, stupefied, anyways, we have not been paying attention. We've just been going along to get along and marking time in this sea of illusion. Anyways, the confusion in this regard is largely due to statements made by many critics referring to the implementation of Codex Alimentarius as if it were legislation waiting to come into effect. A more accurate phrase would be the implementation of Codex Alimentarius guidelines, as would more adequately describe the situation. Codex is merely another tool in the chest of an elite group of individuals whose goal is to create a one-world government which they will wield complete control, power over the food supply to essentially in order to achieve this. As will be discussed later, Codex Alimentarius will be implemented whenever guidelines are established and national governments begin to arrange their domestic laws in accordance with the standards set by the organization. Sort of like the Agenda 21 scam that's going on all over USA Inc., and everybody's dead asleep. That'll be new dictates for the sheeple to have to correspond with. Well, hey, Jerry, I don't subscribe to none of this crap. That's why I created Privatis.Me, so for those who are on the call who haven't been over to my house yet, you need to go over to my house. I cover all these different things, but hey, it's a real simple lift. It's a real effective direction of flow. It's about removing presumption. So guess what, folks? Guess what I've created for my brothers and sisters over at Privatis, is how to remove presumptions with the body politic as a 14th Amendment slave, and that's what you are, because you have merely privileges and benefits. Matter of fact, Brother Jerry, I covered last week on the sales tax scam, but now in 9 states they're integrating a sales tax, an internet sales tax, to troll for some more dollars. What better way? But I think I posted it in your site. I don't know if you ever got to read it, but it says you are a person. A person is not a live man. It's a corporation. It's a for-profit, and they even mentioned about the estates in as far as it's a privilege. It's an excise tax. It's well documented. I have an excellent article. Matter of fact, I'm going to have Brother Michael continue to post that over on our email blast at Privatis.Me. When he does the email blast, it'll be an icon, link where everybody needs to go read this for themselves, because the one who's supposed to pick up the tab for the sales tax in that state is the corporation that's working or has got, like Walmart or whatever. It's not supposed to be you eating the sales tax. But they created this separation of us because we didn't know who we were, and we've stepped right in and literally been duped on multiple levels. Anyways, on that note, I'm going to leave it alone. Anyways, it's a huge rabbit trail. They've sucked us in on all levels. Now they're talking about a $1.40 gas tax on top of every hour, on every gallon, They're trying to implement that so we can, take care of that carbon tax for that global warming scam that they've been perpetrating upon the masses. And those monies would go over to the IMF. And, folks, I got different words for the IMF, and it's not International Monetary Fund either. But, folks, if you look around, today I've been very busy educating myself and looking past separating the wheat from the chaff. Many, many articles posted. Matter of fact, I posted in everybody's Skype box today, IRS Certificate of Incorporation. Folks, they're not a government agency. They're a corporation, and the whores are collecting for the other whores called the IMF. They're all corporations, too, and they're private. There's nothing government about them. They're all bad actors. Anyways, it's really, really interesting that we keep giving over to these whore top corporations. But, hey, folks, let me tell you something. Over at the BRICS, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they're actually going to a funding system that's actually backed by something of substance, not this hypothecation event on the asses and the masses' backs through birth certificate and hypothecation. Matter of fact, 5 countries, 5 of the top economies in the world have dropped the dollar. But if you weren't paying attention, you didn't know. Also, I posted another article in reference to my brothers in Canada, because my brothers in Cyprus just took a major haircut to the tune of 40% of their funds extricated out of their private accounts in the bank. Well, guess what? My brothers in Canada are next, and they even have the legislation that they posted over there. It's you can reference it. I posted it in Skype. Let me find that article. Hey, brother, I'm very but this all ties in with the same crap and the controls with the medical stuff that we speak of. It's you got to love it. These people are the master crooks on multiple levels. I'm going to find this article. I posted it yesterday. Let me see. Oh, yeah, here we go. Beautiful article. I'm just going to cover it before we go to break. The confiscation of savings in Canada. Hey, folks, guess what? My Canadian brothers and sisters, those that are listening, Cyprus-style bail-ins proposed by your government, but it's not your government. It's a bunch of corporate whores and bad actors. Let's take a look at this. So I'm going to read just a paragraph or so because this is a crap that makes me nuts, and I want to share the love. Anyways, the politicians of the Western world are coming after your bank accounts. In fact, Cyprus-style bail-ins are actually proposed in the new Canadian government budget. When I first heard about this, I was quite skeptical, so I went and looked it up for myself. And guess what? It was right there in black and white on pages 144 and 145 of the Economic Action Plan of 2013, which the Harper government has already submitted to the House of Commons. Anyways, the new budget actually proposes to implement a bail-in regime for systematically important banks in Canada. Economic Action Plan 2013 was submitted on March 21st, which means this bail-in regime was likely being planned long before the crisis in Cyprus ever erupted. So exactly what in the world is going on here? Well, in addition, as you will see below, it is being reported that the European Parliament will soon be voting on a law which will require that large banks be bailed in when they fail. In other words, the whores that spent all and fleeced everything, they're getting bailed out while you're getting sucked dry. In other words, the new law would make Cyprus-style bank account confiscation the law of the land for the entire European Union. Anyways, I can't even begin to describe how serious all this is. From now on, when major banks fail, they're going to bail them out by grabbing the money that is in your bank accounts. That is going to absolutely shatter faith in banking system, and it's actually going to make it far more likely that we'll see major bank failures all over the Western world. Anyways, folks, I just wanted to share a little bit of the love. Matter of fact, I even posted in everybody's box, brother, because hey, Jerry, I got to cover these things because otherwise my sheeple brothers are asleep and they're going to get fleeced, and I'm just trying to protect them. But I got the center police plan. As a matter of fact, let's see. I know I posted this. I'm going to 1 second. I got to find this because this is important. Let's take a look. Anyways, yeah, of course, when I'm looking for it, I'll never find it. The minute I get off on a break, I'll find it probably. Let's see. I know I posted it at Michael's. Gotta love it. Anyways, let me see it. Anyways, I'm gonna find it, and after the break, I'm probably gonna cover it. Nope, and it's gone. What I was looking for. Anyways, basically, what it said in the article basically was this: anybody that's signed up at the bank with their bank accounts gave permission to give over. It's considered abandoned property. It's not yours. So all those who think their stuff is safe, their 401ks, all this other crap, you'd be dead wrong. And I'm hoping you don't have to find out the hard way. Anyways, this is not fear porn, folks. This is reality. It's time to snap out of it. Anyways, we're going to go to break. We're at the bottom of the hour. And we'll be right back and tighten up the loose ends on the medical side of the house and alternatives and share a little love. And hope maybe we'll have a couple callers. Anyways, on that note, everybody do what they do when they go to break. We'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back, folks, to the downside of the show and into the spirit of things. And, yeah, where truth is stranger than fiction. Go figure. Anyways, Brother Jerry and I have been just trying to give a little direction of flow on the physical side of the house, on the body. But we do have a caller in the queue. Brother Jerry, I guess we'll let them on through, and we'll let them on in through. Andrea, let them through. I mean, yeah, there you go.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I'm calling from Canada, and I'd like to thank you for a very informative program.
You're welcome. Yeah, we're glad to have you.
Good, thanks. I have a question specifically for Jerry.
Okay.
You mentioned the enzymes, to take them separate from the food.
Yes.
And could you...
I'm sorry.
Could you...
Well, there's a couple of different ways you can go with enzymes, okay? There are strictly what we would... There's a line here with enzymes that's a little... kind of almost convoluted to explain, but let me explain it this way. There are specific digestive enzymes, okay, that have concentrations of specific amylase, protease, lipase, and so on, the different enzymes that digest the different types of food you eat. If you were buying those, if you were going to purchase those, you can get them in Canada. The brand that I say is the best because they have no fillers all, and they grow their own enzymes in their own lab, is a company called Enzymedica, E-N-Z-Y.
E-N-Z-Y?
M-E-D-I-C-A, Enzymedica.
And is it can, like C-A-N?
Yeah, no, Enzymedica, M-E-D-I-C-A,
Oh, okay.
Enzymedica.
Okay.
And they have a product called Digest and Digest Gold. Digest Gold on the surface looks better because it has a lot of different other enzymes in the formula. Yes, is really a great product for just about anybody who has reasonably good digestion but wants to maybe make a little bit of an improvement. They sell specific gluten digesting enzymes. They have formulas there, and if you go to a health food store up there where you are in Canada, I'm sure someone there will be able to give you the proper direction for the formula that would serve you best.
And how do you recommend taking it? Like a half hour before, or according to the directions on the? How many?
5 minutes before any primary meal, take one enzyme. 5 minutes. And
That's all.
What that does, by taking an enzyme about 5 minutes before the meal, it actually sets up pre-digestion of your food in the upper part of your stomach. So that's the cardiac section of the stomach. It's closest to your heart. And when it sets that digestive cascade up sooner, it's less stress going through the rest of the digestive process.
Okay, very good. So is that the main thing that you do when you assist people, help people, the enzymes? Is that, and also you talked about probiotics.
And the probiotics too. I do a little intake. Obviously I have to have some information. So I ask them about some of their lifestyle habits, the foods that they're eating, how many times maybe they've been on antibiotics, over the last couple of years. And I try to, what I'm attempting to do is have them realize that as they were trying to kill different, viral or bacterial issues or control them in their body, that this is more than likely when the digestive issues started also, because just about with everybody it follows the same pattern. It follows the same pattern. And it's sad because without, a digestive process, as I said earlier, you'd find that your immune system goes down, because when you look at your, your immune system, about 70 to 80% of it is in that stomach gut area. So, everything's connected. Everything's connected. Yeah. So.
Do you have a website that you write about what you do in your work also?
Yeah, I do. Actually, it's called Square, S-Q-U-A-R. That's all one word. Square, S-Q-U-A-R. Square Wave, W-A-V-E, wellness.com. SquareWaveWellness.com.
Okay. And I just have a question for you, Peter, too.
I don't know. I don't know if I can take any
I'm sure you'll be able to answer it. What you put in your water, do you have that recipe on Privatis.com,
sure
like the amounts?
Matter of fact, that's in all the free portals. I have audios already placed up there. I'm going to have Michael, I think he's reposted the articles, like on the Celtic salt, extremely valid information. I actually get the reason I get the gray Celtic, and you can actually, that's one of the more top grades as far as I'm concerned. It's better than Himalayan. It's got more dense nutrients it releases, but I only grind what I'm going to use in my dose. In other words, if you got a 5-pound bag, if you go ahead and grind up all those little rocks, you're releasing immediately those 94 plus trace dense nutrients at that time. So you need it's sort of like use it or lose it. And I even covered this with Brother Santos on one of his calls, because he said he already bought his all ground up with no place to go. I said, not a good idea, because you done released all those dense nutrients. So I have a special ceramic grinder that I bought from the health food store, so it's grinding my dose as I go, and I basically do about a half a teaspoon for me, and then I'll pour the water in it. It's in a glass, and then I'll add my sodium bicarbonate, about a teaspoon, and about 5 drops of my food-grade hydrogen peroxide, which makes the body oxygen-rich, which is a really good state for your body to be in, for pathogens not to hang out. I don't know if you've heard the story, my brother Greg's sister, who was sent home to die for cancer, and we gave her an overview about how to take Celtic salt and sodium bicarbonate and in distilled water, mixing it together, and breathing it through a ventilator because it was lung cancer. And what's happened is, it cleared up the lung cancer, but the sad part is she's actually buying the swill from the White Jackets to go try some new miracle drug that won't work, even though they sent her home to die already, and she's already well now. Amazing. You got to love it.
That is. I think I caught that on your last program, but not maybe the whole thing. But the how did she do it through a ventilator?
Yeah, it's a breathing device that will actually make a mist. So when you're breathing it in, it goes down to all the areola sacs in the lungs, thereby making those areola sacs very oxygen-rich, which the pathogens can't survive in. But matter of fact, I was expounding upon. Yeah, there's it goes back 1,000 years. There's a doctor, I think it's Simon Dominicelli, something of that nature. He's got excellent videos speaking on the sodium bicarbonate. He did such an effective job in Italy. They took his license away and filed charges against him because they couldn't make money on patenting sodium bicarbonate. He was literally reversing every tumor issue, whether it be cervical, lumps or whatever in the breast or whatever, pretty much within a couple days. And that was just too effective for Big Pharma. And saying, hey, God, it is really the incestuous ties that bind when you have doctors with a conscience actually come out of the closet and share the truth. They marginalize and try and prosecute them and cause them issues, just like they did with Raymond Royal Rife back in the 1930s. Go figure. So I have no love for the whores that be, and that's what they are. They're incestuous whores, and their only objective is to make us money marks, literally for hypothecation event for the whole damn system. So I can pretty much prove it on most levels, and I've covered also the Project Pink scam of the masses, and all these emotional women get all gee gaga, go the run for life. What a crock of crap. You know what? The idiots behind this pharmaceutical company behind this crap, that drug that they utilize actually causes cancer. So here we go, liars, crooks, and thieves all climbing to bed together and then appealing to the emotions of my brothers and sisters under the guise of a freaking proverbial lie, sort of like what they sold me in the military to become, under the guise of patriotism, I'm going to go fight some other sorry-ass clown's war. Hey, I got duped, but I got unduped at the same time. So when you get your mind right, then you find out all wars are bankers' wars, which I got posted over on the site. If anybody wants a history lesson on the real truth behind our brothers and sisters losing their lives under the guise of a lie. So see, Tanis, this is the whole point. They use our emotions against us. We go with good intent, good in heart, and good hearts, and they manipulate those for their best interest. That really makes me mad. So you know what? I'm going to share the love on a whole different level, and I'm going to pull this proverbial curtain back until their so-called butts fall off. If they don't like me, whatever, I really don't care. I'm at the point being, I have no fear. I don't care. You ain't going to put the poop back in the elephant. It's coming out at the speed of sound, and everybody's starting to get the memo.
Well, good for you.
I don't get emotional, huh?
Yeah, I appreciate it. And just one more question around the water, back to the practical. Yep. Do you put that much in one glass of water or in like a jug when the half a teaspoon of salt, one teaspoon of sodium?
The half teaspoon, then the sodium bicarbonate. Yeah, it's a little salty. It takes a little acclimatization, but I usually do about 12 ounces of water, and then I'll wash it down with some more water after the fact, and it takes a little getting used to, but I'm used to it, and it's not a big deal. So you just mix it really good with a fork, we stir it real good, drink down maybe half. Yes, and it may give you the runs because, you're making all your intestinal tract nice and oxygen-rich and sort of might be a little shock to the system, but it's not going to cause you any great duress.
When you drink that 12 ounces, you don't make that in every glass of water you drink in a day? Is it just once a day?
Just or one dose a day. One dose a day.
One dose a day. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Everybody's different. Some people can do two. I do one. I do my one glass, and I'm wired for sound because of the oxygen-rich content, and then I do my hemp powder after I work out to feed the muscles and the tissues, and so one glass a day is more than. It's a win-win proposition. It's like preventive medicine. It's what they're not going to talk about, and they're not going to tell us how to prevent disease. They're just going to tell us, hey, you got a disease, so we got the magic pills, chemical therapy, to basically upend your system. But it won't fix you. It's just going to keep you sick, and they don't talk about this. Anyways, that would be a great way to go. It's dirt cheap, and you can probably pretty much get it from any health food store, the Celtic Gray Salt. I think I've got it posted on, yeah, it's definitely posted. Matter of fact, if you send me an email, I'll send you the article attachment of the salt. I want you to read this for yourself. It's so well put together, and it will give you an education. It's called live salt versus dead salt. In the garbage, what they don't talk about is we're losing 2.3 million people a year just to the garbage salt that people are using in all their foods, that white chemical. By the way, it has aluminum built up into it, sodium silicate, which is another aluminum antagonist to build up in the brain. So they don't tell us this stuff. But we've been using that salt shaker for a long time, and then you wonder why you're always thirsty and your body craves more and more salt. My body doesn't crave any salt when I'm doing Celtic salt. It's a beautiful thing because I'm actually getting all the nutrients, which we are totally deficient in, just like the magnesium.
That's absolutely true. I actually didn't know, though, about the grinding, losing the trace, because I use the Celtic Gray Salt, but I have it ground up, so I'm going to have to get a block. But that's where the nuancing of what you're talking about, that, well, both of you, that helps, right? And I'm not sure if you have that all on your site. And hemp powder, did you just start using that?
No, I've been using that for years. But I took a break from it, and then I got back into it about in the last 90 days. Lost about 15 pounds, building my body back because I took a break for about a year and a half, and yeah, my machine's sort of loving it, and I'll get my 19-inch arms back so I can look like I'm walking on my hands even when I'm walking on my legs. It's a beautiful thing.
So you take that in relation to exercising, or just overall you use it every day, like protein replacement?
Right. It can be right as a food replacement, as a meal replacement. But I work out with it. After I finish my workout, I got to feed a protein source to the muscles, so I don't get all that lactic acid buildup in the muscle tissues because I sort of push pretty hard. Yeah, I've been lifting for probably about 28 years, so I sort of know a little bit about how to feed the machine. So I'm a little guy, but I don't look too little when you see these arms.
Well, that's good. Okay. Well, I've taken enough time. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We thank you very much. Hey, you have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right. That was a great call. Let's see. Okay. Let me go back to ground here, and do we have anybody else in the window there? I'm checking with my producer. I'm having a brain fart. Okay, nobody's left in the room. We are 8:49. We're getting about the top of the hour. Yeah, Jerry, if you want to put out your site that they can find you at, yeah, I'm going to try and post you after the show. See if I can, matter of fact, post it in my Skype, and I will go ahead and I can have it attached to the YouTube when we create it, and we'll put it under the show more. So people have any further questions to ask you, they can direct the flow to you.
Well, yeah, people can contact me at my email address, and I'll direct them to other links and places. Just contact me at Jerry, JerryNowacki, @gmail.com. Jerry, JerryNowacki, all lowercase, all one word, @gmail.com. Contact me, and I'll help you any way I can, and tell you a little bit more about what I do, and maybe share some, testimonials. You'll feel, the credibility's there. I'm just, I'm tired of trying to, in a sense, when I say I'm tired, I don't like to get into an introduction like this, trying to tell people all the things that I do or that I have done. I'd rather give people some quality information they can take action on and prove it to themselves, because ultimately that's what it all comes down to, is either taking action or squandering, more time and going into non-productive areas, because, again, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And if you're looking for different results, then go back to the basics. Go back to the basics. Everything is about, if anybody's played sports, what do? You go through the basics. You go through the basic exercises. You go through the basic drills. Why? Because the basics are about 80 to 90% of every game. Health game is no different. Absolutely no different. Been convoluted, but still, it goes back to the basics. And the basics are nutrition, hydration, positive mental state, and that doesn't mean Pollyanna. That means being realistic with your situation and realizing that if you are not doing well, most, if not every condition can either, without question, be improved or remediated with a progressive approach and giving it adequate amount of time. And again, I don't make healing claims. I just talk about guidance of some basic principles that go back to Hippocrates. Let thy medicine be thy food, and thy food thy medicine. So it's the basics, everybody, and we're in that time. We're in this time of great awakening for people that are following, these great energy shifts and these solar flares and all of the action that's going on the planet. Peter can talk about, the specifics that have to do with, like the financial moves in the markets and what they're really trying to do. Well, what they really are signs of tremendous desperation that the people are waking up. And if you feel these urges for new insights and for a new beginning for yourself, then I believe my brother Peter and myself can be one of the people on the ladder of ascension, we'll call it, or awakening, that can help in that regard, or assist, maybe, or assist is a better word.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just, I just feel, Jerry, we're just the energy conduit, direction of flow. This is where I live. I got my surfboard out. It's all waxed up, and I got someplace to go. I'm going to ride the wave in. I'm not going to block the energy. I'm going to run with it. I'm going to embrace it and move forward. This is all what I'm trying to do here. So this is the upside is with Privatis.Me, Michael and I have been able to create a multitude of excellent information that literally will give a lot more clarity. So, folks, those listening to the call, if you're not signed up for Privatis.Me, please do. You'll get our memos on our calls and everything else. But, this is the direction of flow. We won't keep you busy with the mundane. We're not going to talk about, I'm not going to go into negotiable instruments laws. I'm not going to go into the Code of Federal Regulations, statutes at large, implementing regulations. Although I already covered those, they were good learning experiences, but that's what brought me to ground to get to the point I'm at now. So, like I was talking to one lady today, you don't have to go through the 25 years of digging through the holes like I did. I've already punched all the holes in. Now I said, okay, now I have a starting point after coming out the other side, and this is all direction of flow, and that's why we created 8 steps over on the homepage so people can follow. And we have a cancer page. We have information on, like I say, these medical calls I've done already on the Celtic salt, the sodium bicarbonate. I haven't done food-grade hydrogen peroxide. I was going to do that next because it's really, really valid. This is it's pennies a dose, and this is Big Pharma can't patent it, and they're not real happy about it. So that's what I want to talk about, the stuff they can't patent, and is an effective adjunct to bringing that body back into its alkaline state. And it all starts with what we're eating as well. So, I can't, it's going to take a minute. We got some heavy lifting to do together, but at least we have direction of flow, and that's the key.
Yeah, and that's it, Peter. And like I say, I'm not here to try to overwhelm anybody or overpower anybody with all these terms and, medical jargon that makes you sound like you're an authority. Because, again, I'm not here to push any supplements. The information that I disseminate is irrefutable, regardless of the practitioner and whatever that practitioner is trying to off, whatever new superfood is trying to be pushed on you. Let me give you a definition of a superfood. Any food that serves you at the highest level of nutrition and health. There's no such thing as a superfood. The carnival barkers, and I will not mention any names, these people, this yo-yo should be, the man, he is nothing but a carnival barker. And I think if there are people out there who know what I'm talking about, that's what superfood is. I want you to think about it. There are foods that have some super high nutrition, but guess what? If you can't absorb that nutrition, if you can't break it down, then guess what? As Brother Peter said earlier, it usually ends up in the toilet bowl.
Yep.
And here's something else that nobody will tell you. There are no such things as benign substances. So you go back to the magnesium stearate, silicon dioxide, and these fillers that go in most of your supplements. Well, these have no electrical connection with your body, because if you believe your body is electrical, which, you know, if you take an EKG, it's an electrical machine on your electrical organ known as your heart. If they hook you up to an EEG and they want to test your brain for, you know, its wiring, that is, again, another electrical connection. So that should give you an idea that you are electrical. Well, all of these so-called benign substances, because, again, and I know we're running short on time, but let me mention this to you. You've got, you've got different, let me use magnesium as an example. You've got you've got multiple types of magnesium. You have to find the right magnesium that works inside you. Now, again, there are some generic and good outlines to follow. Peter mentioned some great stuff. I'm just saying that as you fine-tune your system, you will find out that you will have certain requirements at certain times. Those requirements will lessen as maybe seasons change, because everything is cyclical. And there will be other nutrients that will come and go, but you can get a lot of the food, a lot of the nutrients from food, but there are some quality supplements that, again, may be necessary. Again, I'm saying this with caution because I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm trying to have people think a little bit more than just being a robot walking into a health food store and asking for stuff that may not serve them in the exact area they need the most help.
Well, okay. And on that note, we are 8:59, and folks, thanking Brother Jerry. Thank everybody for showing up tonight. Yeah, we're going to do some more direction to flow next Monday on the alternative medical side of the house. But tomorrow, we're going to get into the deep end of the pool with Brother Peter, with Michelle and Brother John, and with updates and informations, and talking about consent, how to settle accounts, how to go in peace, and how to move forward and live life on purpose. It's going to be an excellent call. Everybody show up tomorrow night. You'll love it. It'll be 7 to 9, and this is the new show. This format will be Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays with Brother Peter and alternative guests for the most part. But we're going to give you direction to flow, because this is where we live. There is a paradigm shift, and you're it. Welcome to my world. And I thank everybody for showing up, and I thank my producer, and I thank Brother Zach at Verdict Productions for helping create my YouTubes after the fact, because he does an extremely good job. So, folks, in the spirit of things, we'll be back tomorrow night for a little bit more heavy lifting. We're going to share the love, and we're going to take you down the proper trail. Anyways, with that, we love you, and we say adieu, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye-bye. Thank you, Brother Jerry.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.